Alright, I'm gonna clean out the carburetor for my snowblower. It's a Toro 826 OXE. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off this thing here, this cover here. There's some bolts here. And there's a bolt on the back here. And I'm gonna take off these bolts here and get this thing off. Before we begin, there's this fuel shut-off line here. It'll probably be horizontal if you're using it, so make sure that it's vertical. Some models don't have that, so you might have to pinch the fuel line if you don't, to make sure that when you're taking the carburetor off, the cup off, that the fuel doesn't pop up everywhere. Okay, after removing the 6 8mm bolts from the top here and removing the 2 10mm nuts, I'm gonna take this thing off. Okay, so all you gotta do now is just gonna pull it off. I'll set this on the ground here, and then you gotta move this thing out. So I'm gonna take this key out and kind of pull this thing off. You gotta kind of be careful. You gotta go around this lever here and make your way around. So this thing is kind of connected to a wire here. I'm just gonna leave it on the side here because I don't want to take the wire off, and then I'm gonna get to work on the carburetor. Okay. After setting it to the side, I just kind of hang it around here because I won't be needing the top part of that. You can see this little area here. I'm gonna take a 10mm bolt and take these 2 bolts off, and then I can take this cup thing off. All right, I loosened those 2 bolts and I took the cup off. This will be what it looks like. I put a rag here because the gas will drip down when you loosen those bolts, so make sure you got a rag handy. And here's the little cup section. This thing, I just loosened this bolt here. The one on the bottom is down there on the cardboard. This bolt actually just tightens the cup up right on this rod right here, so you don't have to completely take it off. Just make sure you loosen it up. Now I'm gonna take a plier and pull this thing off so I can take off this part, this white part. All right, so here I am. Just gonna pull the rod off. Make sure you got a good grip on it. And that thing's just gonna come tumbling down. If I wasn't on the camera here, I would have had 2 hands on it and it wouldn't have fall down. But make sure you put that away. And then now what you got is an open carburetor. And then just make sure that you're spraying your carb cleaner. You know, I got this carb cleaner that I got at O'Reilly's. Just make sure you're spraying it all over these things and right under this. And not sure if we can see it here, but there's some holes. This hole right here, spraying it right under there. So here we are. I'm just gonna spray right up in here, spray right under there, and all up in here. I already did it once, so this is kind of the second go around. Once you're done with that, you can wipe it up, and we'll do the reverse. Okay. So all I did was just put this white thing back up, put the little rod pin through it, make sure it's even here. It kind of slides back and forth pretty easily. This thing is pretty easy to take on and take off. And then now I'm gonna put the cup back on. Okay, I just put the cup back on, tighten this, tighten that. Now I'm gonna put this thing back over the front here, and we're gonna give it a try. Let me get this back. Okay, so I flipped it upside down and put it back together. Now before I put the top part on, we're just gonna test it to see if it works how we want it to. So now we just gotta put that key back on. And then you make sure you turn this back to a horizontal, because that's going to allow the gas to go through to the carburetor and into the engine. So make sure that this is on. And I'm gonna turn this to rabbit. All right, so here we go. I just put the plug in here. I'm just gonna give this a prime. So, okay, primed it up. And let's see if it goes. All right, so that didn't work. So, the next step is, if your carburetor's not clean, you gotta go check the spark plug. So the spark plug is right on the side here. All you gotta do is just take it off, and you'll see the spark plug is on here. It's a 22 millimeter socket. So take that off and replace it. Okay, so I just took it out and I bought a new one. I already installed it. So this is the new one that's installed. Here's the old one. See the tip here? It's like all black. So that's why it's not working. So, alright. So, just prime it up. I already primed it, but prime it a few times. And put it to rabbit. And we're going to give it a pull. Here we go.